You to turn your mic on, mate, because otherwise they won't be able to hear your sultry tones just at the bottom.
Champion, boss. Champion.
Okay, boy, there's a wee bit of work going on. So, Tony, first off, on behalf of the Auckland Rugby League, we want to thank you for hosting us down here today. The ground's looking in great shape.
Yeah, looking great. Thanks to the council and, of course, yourself for coming and setting up.
Oh, mate, we love it.
Yep.
In regards to the club, let's have a little talk around player strength. Now, talking to you previously off camera,
Yes.
you're up on players. Let's talk a wee bit around that.
Well, at the bottom of the table, and I suppose a bit of a rebuilding stage from last year. We knew it was coming for a long time, but we had a lot of young talent coming through, so a lot of 20s, and that's why we got Edwin on board. So at the beginning of the year, we lost our coach, Tiki, just a family reason. So I had to find new set of coaches. So I got all Marist boys involved. Jason, Edwin, took my 20s a few years ago, and then they've brought these boys back. But these kids are just learning. So, they're just learning about Fox and learning about how to play the game.
Yeah.
And so that's where we're at, just a bit of a transition. So that's it.
Mate, big coup getting Edwin Fusitua. Legend.
Oh, yeah, awesome.
Legend.
Awesome.
Look, I was sort of really alluding to your junior playing strengths. You got a lot of players here at Marist this season, so you're up on numbers. What's driven that?
Me probably, but some. So we've been working hard for the last 5 years. 5 years on our juniors, especially our international grades, 13s, 14s, 15s, 16s. We lost our 20s this year because we didn't have a comp. So we've been really pushing those junior grades, and you just got to look after your coaches and managers. So they're the most critical thing for me in the club. I look after them as much as I can, because without them, I actually don't have any teams. So they're critical to where we're at the moment.
Mate, and also, you've been a big advocate of the live streaming. You've always been keen to do interviews with me over the last few years. What's the vibe around the club, after having live stream games down here at Marist Saints?
Oh, yeah, they're all excited. They get and the boys too, they get to watch themselves on TV, and it's good for the kids. We're trying to get as many kids down here today to get in front of the camera.
Yep.
So, and it's great. You can see them, you can watch, we had last game was, I think, Point Chev. So it's good to watch them.
That was a cliffhanger too.
Yeah.
Heartbreaker for Edwin, but a big cliffhanger.
Yeah,
now, the reason I asked you about the live streaming, mate, is because of sponsors. Now, this is a sponsorship opportunity, I understand, because we got one for the Marist Saints.
Yeah, we do. We got Brett, my mate, but we're terrible.
Brett, my mate. Okay.
We're terrible at sponsorship, but once we get our act into gear, and if there's anybody out there, I suppose, but we're working on that. Since I've been out, just work on little things every year. So next year's our centennial, so we're working towards that, and also I'm looking at the redevelopment of the club.
Yep.
So I'm pulling down half the bloody club and fixing that up. I got it. So those are more important to me than, I know it's great to have a sponsor, but those are critical.
Well, they might bring some sponsorship dollars to help you.
Yeah, they might.
And so 0800, phone Tony Latham, get involved. Marist Saints need some money, need some support.
Yeah, all I need is $500,000.
$500,000, is that all?
That's all we need.
Okay, and I'm sure that you'll be able to repay that back in value anyway.
Yeah, we will.
Mate, finally, just want to touch in regards to, with a hosting game down here, Richmond coming down to play today. Coming up to the club, is everyone welcome? What happens up there after a main game?
Yeah, so today we've got a big day. It's Old Boys Day up at the club. So, and we're also playing Richmond, like our neighbours. We've got Liz over there. Liz runs and comes and helps us with our homework group that she's running through Auckland Rugby League. And, we've had a big association with Richmond over the years, and a lot of my friends have played there. So, we're both at the bottom at the moment, but both proud clubs. So,
Richmond will tell you they're 2 points up on you.
Yeah, well, kind of. Maybe not after today. We'll see what happens. But huge day for everybody here today. It's a nice day. So, like I said, got the old boys up here today. So hopefully they don't give us much grief.
Cool. All right, mate. Well, listen, I know you're really busy. Once again, on behalf of the Auckland Rugby League, we want to thank you for hosting us down here. We're now going to throw to Corey and catch up with the coaches and get some insights before today's game. And we'll be right back with you.
Cheers, Troy. You want hamburgers or hot dogs? Okay. How many of you boys there? 4. Yeah, I've already eaten. You sure?
Well, we are now joined by head coach of the Richmond Bulldogs, Steve Buckingham. Bucky, thanks for joining us. A week off, probably coming at a good time, I guess. Some real promising patches this year for your team, but just haven't been able to string it together consistently so far.
No, that's right, mate. That's the key word for us is consistency. We've played well in patches and shown that we can probably compete with the top teams in the comp. But then other days, the boys just haven't completely shown up at all. So that's an issue we're sort of working on, I guess. Physically, the boys are capable. It's just whether they turn up on the day. So there's a lot of issues in that area that we're sort of working on.
You do mention that. You've had some big performances against top sides. Mount Albert springs to mind. We were really unlucky not to get the result, but only the one win in the bank. What's the confidence levels like in the squad?
Oh, look, confidence is okay. We've had the bye last week and we've trained okay this week. There's still a lot we need to work on as a group, but we're together and that's the main thing. And hopefully today, the boys can show what they can put on the field. So, we're confident going in. But from my point of view as a coach, with my group, mate, I just never know until we start.
So there we go, Bucky. Not too sure which Richmond team will show up. Of course, Marist have been a little the same this year, at times footing it with the best teams in the comp. A little up and down, though. I guess coming into this one, Bucky, the week off, everyone's well rested. What's the injury situation like?
Yeah, injury situation for us is pretty good at the moment. Got a couple of niggles, which you expect this time of year. With the bye, it was really an extra week's preparation leading into this game. Probably didn't go as well as we hoped with the weather and fields being closed and that sort of thing. But yeah, again, hopefully, the boys in the change room look like they're ready to go. So, hopefully we have a good warm-up and come kick-off time, they're good to go.
It's a chance for you to create a 4-point gap between yourselves and the bottom. How important is that? Is that a factor at this stage of the year?
Oh, I guess it is important. It just takes a little bit of pressure off in terms of the whole relegation scenario. And for us, like I said, the boys, it's about getting a win today and trying to kickstart, try and get a bit of a roll, I guess, leading into the second round. So hopefully, we get the result today. But again, if the guys perform well and they do the little things on the field they need to do, the result will take care of itself.
And just finally, Bucky, what's the key thing that gets the job done today?
Territory and possession. Simple as that for us. And we get that right and we work hard around the ruck and win that, then we're there.
Thanks for joining us, Bucky. We're going to go and let you finish preparing your team, and then we're going to welcome in Edwin Fusitua from the Marist Saints.
Nice. Thanks, mate.
Now joined by Edwin Fusitua, assistant head coach of the Marist Saints. Well, Edwin had the week off, but a number of your boys involved in the rep weekend. How's everyone come back in good health?
Very good health. I think that week was good. I think it was good for everybody.
Yep.
They're fresh and ready to go.
Yep. You do often see with teams that are struggling, I guess, sometimes time away in rep teams or even just a holiday with family can really make a big difference.
Yes, I think it does, and it can, and in our case certainly does, because we've had a lot of enthusiasm during the training, during those 2 weeks, even the week where we were off, so it's pretty encouraging, even though we haven't really had the results that we wanted, but the enthusiasm is there.
Yeah, of course, you have come very close a number of times there. The win just around the corner, you feel, but how is the feeling in camp? You mentioned it's enthusiastic. No one's getting their head down at this stage?
No, and that's very surprising. Normally when teams are not going too well, but we've got more, just as much numbers turning up to training and putting their hands up for a run as in the beginning of the season. So very encouraging for us.
What have you felt has been the problem this year? Has it been a recurring theme, or has it been sort of different stuff each week that's kind of cost you games?
I think it's been different styles. I think we had a lot of retirement and boys moving over, so we have got a lot of young boys that have just come through and just inexperienced. At the Fox, there's no easy games, as you guys are well aware. So just being able to be in there week in, week out, we're learning, and hopefully this today will be our day.
You mentioned some of the retirements. I see you've lured one out though. Siali'i Tufeo returns. Massive boost for you guys with his experience.
Absolutely. He's been turning up for about 4 or 5 weeks, just getting a run, just running and training, and just saying, I'll let you guys know when I'm ready. So that's a big plus for us.
What gets the job done today, Edwin? What do you have to do well?
We just need to keep possession, just minimize the mistake, and just play footy. Just play footy. They're young boys and they're very enthusiastic, and just play footy.
Simple as that. Edwin, we're going to let you get back to finish the preparations for the team and take a short break. All the best today.
Thank you very much. Troy, good seeing you.
Welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen, to Murray Halberg Park, where we are building up towards kick-off between the Marist Saints and the Richmond Bulldogs. Our feature game today. Earlier today, we saw the Northcote Tigers get up 28 points to 12 over the Otahu Leopards in the curtain raiser. We're about 15 minutes from kick-off here in this one. Now take a little look at some of the other games going on across Auckland today. Glenora take on Mount Albert out at Harold Moody. That's going to be a huge game there. One of two top four clashes today. Second place Glenora taking on third place Mount Albert. Papakura take on Mangere East in a Southside derby, while the Root Rooster goes on the line at Walker Park. Point Chevalier taking on the Howick Hornets. That's going to be a big game. I'm now going to welcome in to the box Troy Hardy, my commentary partner. Well, Troy, a nice curtain raiser to set the tone. A real feature of that game, Open Rugby League. You expecting to see similar in this one?
Absolutely. I mean, the ground's fantastic. The weather's just beaming. And I think we'll see some open running rugby league. As you said, you know, in the curtain raiser, the boys went from coast to coast. They went from end to end and certainly, you know, threw the ball around. I think I mentioned as we were coming down to the back passage of that play, the big thing that stood out for me was the Tigers' defence. You know, they went 6, 7, 8 sets back to back, and they were so strong on the line, and that certainly put them in good stead, you know, to come out on top at the end of the day.
Looking at some of the results from last week, the Marist Saints, well, when I say last week, a fortnight ago, really, we'd had the week off for the Red Brown last week, but the Marist Saints, well, they lost heavily, 42 points to 4 to the Howick Hornets, while on the other side, Richmond as well had a heavy defeat, 52 points to 10. So both coming off fairly resounding defeats and both sitting near at the back end of the ladder. Other results from round 8 saw the Otahu Leopards get up 38 to 4 over the Papakura Sea Eagles, and the Glenora Bears 26 to 6 winners over the Mangere East Hawks. Let's take a look at what that means for the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership ladder and where they sit after 8 games. As we approach the halfway point, it is the Point Chevalier Pirates without a blemish so far. 8 from 8, they sit on top of the ladder. 16 points. A little further back, the Glenora Bears on 14. They've only dropped the one game that was against Point Chev in round 1. They're followed by the Mount Albert Lions, also sitting on 12 points, 2 defeats so far. The Howick Hornets rounding out the top 4. Now, with Northcote winning earlier today, they have jumped up to 12 points, so they're currently locked on points with the Howick Hornets. A little further back, the Otahu Leopards, Mangere East Hawks, Richmond Bulldogs, Papakura Sea Eagles, and the Marist Saints. So, huge game when we look at the two teams we're about to stream here, Troy, Richmond and Marist. For Richmond, they can create a fairly comfortable buffer between themselves and the bottom as the second round approaches, while for Marist, it's getting to almost must-win territory. Of course, mathematically, they are still with plenty of time to get back, but I think mentally, if they were to go the whole first round without a victory, that's got to hurt.
Yeah, well, just taking a couple of comments Edwin Fisitura had mentioned, there was still great, the heads were up, there seems to be great vibe inside the top side, and, and God forbid we start asking Edwin to do mathematics, they'll be wanting to just put wins on the board and getting, a couple of points on the ladder, and hopefully, today that's going to happen.
A little look around the grounds as well. Last round's Crown Lift Trucks Shaman Cup result. The Te Arotu Roosters were big winners, 36-14 over at the Manukau Magpies. Manurewa 52-22 over at the Papatoetoe Panthers. Papatoetoe really struggling this year, sitting at the bottom of the ladder, yet to pick up a victory. New Lynn edged past Northern Brothers, while Bay Roskill continued their unbeaten run, 34 points to 12 over the Waitemata Seagulls. Otara 32-20 over the Hibiscus Coast. It was a big second half from the Hibiscus Coast, who fell just short of the comeback in the end, going down by 12 points. Ellerslie were comfortable winners, 40-12 over the Mount Wellington Warriors, while Pakuranga caused one of the upsets of the second division season, 32-24 over the Ponsonby Ponies, with the Franklin Storm having the bye. And that ladder, while we don't have a graphic for you, we'll run you through some of the features of that. It starts with the Bay Roskill Vikings being at the top, undefeated. 6 wins from 6. The Franklin Storm sit second. The Premiership newcomers with a win, a draw and a bye. Of course, they lost the point for that draw in round 1, which is the reason they don't sit on 11 points. They sit on 10. Te Arotu Roosters and Ponsonby Ponies, who we probably expected to be up there in the pre-season. Newland Stags, Ellerslie Eagles, Northern Brothers, the Otara Scorpions round out the competition's top 8 right now, and nestled in just behind the Pakuranga Jaguars, who have been a little up and down this year. They are 3-3 in terms of wins and losses. The Manurewa Marlins, who have had it tough with injuries, they sit in 10th position right now on 6 competition points. And then the back end of the ladder has the Waitemata Seagulls on 4, along with the Mount Wellington Warriors, Manukau, and at the bottom, yet to pick up a victory, the Hibiscus Coast Raiders and the Papatoetoe Panthers. So that is how things look in the Crown Lift Trucks Shaman Cup as we count down to kick-off here in the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership. Our first time streaming Richmond this year, Troy. Of course, we had a bit of a false start earlier when we were meant to stream them up against Mount Albert, but matters out of our control meant we couldn't stream from the venue that day. Just looking at them, a couple of big boys in that team, but I think a real key one, Kyle Neal at halfback, the son of Revel Neal. We saw him in action for Te Arotu last year. He's a smart operator and can get a team around the park. He shapes as a key one for me. Yeah,
absolutely. I think he'll be a surprise package, and coming off the back of a fairly large pack, I think you'll actually see him flourish inside the Richmond environment. Marist, however, that game that we covered with Point Chevalier Pirates and only 1 point in it, I know we keep going back to it. They dominated that day. And how they didn't win that match is unbelievable. Down to the last minute, the last play, the last kick, and that's all that was in it. So, they're thereabouts, and I think we're going to see an even matchup today. It's going to be a fantastic game of football down here at the home of the Saints.
So we can see to the left of our shot, which we might be able to get some pictures of, the Marist Saints going through their warm-ups. Looking at the field here at Murray Halberg, it does look certainly very brown, but it's actually in pretty good nick. You can see there the Saints going through their warm-ups. A couple of big ins for them today. They get back the veteran Siali'i Tufeo, who retired last year but has been attending training for the last month or so. He's back in the team and will run out today off the bench wearing the number 8, but it looks like he will come off the bench. A couple of experienced guys in this team as well. What is fairly young across the board, I guess. All of these players coming up through the Marist system here. It's going to be an interesting match. Of course, Richmond and Marist have a long history together as well, Troy. They were a combined merged club for a little while there, Marist Richmond Brothers. So a long history between these two teams, Central Auckland neighbours. And I know that neither of them is comfortable with where they are sitting on the table. Two very proud clubs who are in desperate need of the victory today. So we're about 10 minutes away from kick-off.
Yeah, just heard the warning siren there from the far side of the field where the match managers are. One of the big stars for me on the Marist side is Mafu Briggs. Yep. I think he's just been having a massive year. He played in the Tonga-Auckland game, just last week, hosted at Mount Smart Stadium. And I'm really liking what I see with Mafu Briggs. And, of course, the big crowd favourite, Lau Pepe. Yeah, he came back on. He went off with the leg injury in the Point Chevalier game. You know, they were down inside the 20 and they pulled the trigger on him, and in he came and he just about pulled it off. And he sucked in the defenders. That gave them the opportunity to put the try on out wide to kick for, the opportunity to win that game. So they've got some size. They've got some really grouse players. But Mafu Briggs for me is, one of their key strike weapons.
Yeah, and I think their forward pack in general has been a real strength for them, Marist, and that's, I guess, not unusual. They have had really good forward pack over the years, but you mentioned Leo Pepe, who leads from the front. He spent some time in the Warriors system back in the day, but also Missy Mal, the dummy half brother of Manu Mau, who plays for the Parramatta Eels. He's an experienced player at dummy half, reads the game really well, and while he might not have that little bit of speed out of dummy half that he perhaps used to,
He's got cunning, eh?
absolutely, and controls the play really well there. Young Tom Kavaliku comes into the halves. It's a young halves pairing once again for Marist. A number of changes to their team, which we're going to see in a couple of minutes' time when we run you through the team lists. But looking at Richmond as well, Machu Stone Dunn, a big inclusion for them at fullback, another who has played at the higher levels over the years. So he comes in on the number 1 jersey. David Dyer as well, who returns from time spent over in Europe, playing for the West Warriors, which is a club pretty well made up of all Aussies and Kiwis playing in West London. They had a heroic run in the Challenge Cup last year. I think from memory went 3 or 4 games deep into that competition. So David Dyer returns from his OE to boost this team in the centres. Siavi Tupou as well. We saw him playing for Toa Samoa under-20s last week. A real athlete, a winner of the National Schools title with Southern Cross a few years ago. So he's a big in for them as well. Kyle Neal, who we've touched on, an experienced guide to guide this team around the park, I guess. Spent a number of years at Te Aratu and New Lynn in recent times, playing under Dad Revel. But this year comes across to Richmond, with Te Aratu being relegated down to the 2nd division. So those are the key guys you would think for this Richmond Bulldogs team, as we see both teams now going through their final preparations here.
You sort of just touched too there on the College Rugby League. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, during the week, each Wednesday, 4 p.m, come through to the Auckland Rugby League website, aucklandleague.co.nz, College Rugby League live action. And as there have been some big hits in that, even with the first week, we saw some really great matchups. And as I said, you'll be able to get the live link through to that. And Wednesday, we see Otahu up against Westlake. And that's going to be a fantastic match, and looking forward to that clash. So every Wednesday now, College Rugby League on the Auckland Rugby League website. Come through, again sponsored by SAS Sporting Apparel, as is the SAS Fox.
Yeah, and a good game we had last week. Kelson up against Southern Cross, 4-4 at half-time before Kelson overpowered them in the second half. I think 22-4, the final scoreline in that one.
And your best mate, Conrad, didn't he have a big week?
Yeah, young Conrad to it.
Didn't he have a big day?
He did indeed, yeah. Taking the ball to the line, found some success off the back of it. And Conrad, we saw in action for Ellerslie in the under-16s grand final last year as well. So a player with plenty of promise, young Connie.
There's the big Marist Saints knight up there with the big sword. Welcome to the home of the Marist Saints, and hopefully the home will be a warm welcoming today. They'll be looking to get their first 2 points on the ladder. However, they're going to go through the Richmond Bulldogs to make that happen. And as you can see, there's some big men in that Marist Saints side.
See Chairman Tony Lyman going through the huddle there as well, just wishing the boys well. One thing about this Marist club, Troy, all very close-knit. It's very much a family club, and players that, I guess, come through the Marist system tend to stay at Marist. They,
absolutely, and there's been some megastars come through the club too.
Yep, absolutely. More recent times, the likes of Tuiamola Lola here, David Fusitua, who's in brilliant form this year, arguably the best winger in the NRL right now in terms of try-scoring ability. Manu Mau as well, playing over at the Parramatta Eels. So there's a long list of them. So there's the 5-minute warning for this game. We will now bring up the team lists and take you through how they will take the field today here at Murray Halberg Park. Starting with the hosts, the Marist Saints. At the back, it is Saneli, Palamo. The wingers are Ulukita and Whakawhanua. In the centres, Teorema joins Tamasi. The halves, Fa'avesi and Kavaliku. Up in the front row, the captain, Toliafoa Leo Pepe, is joined by Tanitau. And the hooker, Missy Mau. In the back row, Tuponiwa, Briggs, and the other Tuponiwa, Tony. And on the bench, Cyrus Payne, Tui Masevi, Hala Ofa, and Tufeo, who we mentioned earlier, has come out of retirement. He's going to turn out again this year for his beloved Marist Saints, and is a huge boost for them. The away team today, the Richmond Bulldogs. Machu Stone Dunn at the back, Matrix Kauhiva on the wing. He's joined by Malaysia, Dyer and Tupo in the centres, Motion and Neil other halves, Kamapo and Latoa, who is also the captain in the front row. Sturgis is the dummy half in the back row, Limafa and Tongeo, and Pell feeds the, or locks the scrum, we should say. Akoi, Atmore, Prius, Law, and Nahi on the bench, and they're coached by veteran mentor Steve Buckingham. So that's how the two teams will take the field today. Noticeable quality in coaches here today. Jason Williams, who had a great career, which included NRL football over the years, and Steve Buckingham, who for many years was arguably the best domestic player in New Zealand, was at the forefront of everything that was happening. A Mount Albert man and coached the club for a number of years, but now moves across to Richmond. Did a good job with them last year, got them into a safe position by around about the halfway point of the year, took the pressure off them. A little tougher this year, but they do have the one win. They also footed it with Mount Albert recently and were very unlucky to lose that one. A penalty right on the buzzer from Reece Joyce, killing that one off.
Yeah, I think it was a smart move by the Richmond set up down there to bring Steve Bucking in. You know, they basically got themselves clear of being, you know, in the relegation department, and real hard point to prove when you're, you know, getting promoted back up into the SAS Fox. So they did really, really well, and he'll be looking to try and carry that momentum on for this season for sure.
You can see on screen there our referees. A big shout out to the referees. Our middleman today, Hayden Price, is joined by Corey Jewell and Brandon Tasker, who are our touchies for the first game as well. ARLrefs.co.nz is the website if you are interested in joining the association. Just going through those final preparations now. They're going to swap ends. It looks like it's going to be Richmond who kick off. So huge game, 8th plays 10th, 2 points separate them on the ladder. This is one of 4 games this weekend which involves teams separated by 2 points on the ladder. So it really is the rivalry round, I guess. We've got the top 4 all facing off against each other today. Glenora coming up against Mount Albert, Point Chev up against Howick. A massive round. Do keep an eye on aucklandleague.co.nz. We'll have match reports from all of the games at the conclusion.
And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, all of the action replays on the ARL TV YouTube site. And those replays, as you know, Corey, get absolutely thrashed. So they'll all be up by Sunday, tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. And you'll be able to recapture all of the action across the live stream games that we've done today. Here we go.
So into it we go. And it is the Marist Saints who will get first use of the ball. This Marist team, who in years gone by have tended to actually be
big carry from the little fella
in around that top 4. They've regularly featured in the finals in recent times, but a number of untimely departures, I guess, this year. Coinciding with the rebuilding period now as Briggs earns the penalty there.
It was a quick one. He'd gone through the hole.
So early penalty here for the Saints.
Come back on side, mate. Let's go, boys.
just here coming from the Richmond side there. They're looking for the right attitude.
Here we are, guys. Line it up on
So
me.
they're going to be vigorous in their D, fast line speed.
So Briggs comes in for his second carry of the game. Played well for the Tonga New Zealand residents last week in a heavy defeat to Auckland.
Two stand markers
Tanito
now. Hold. Go 2. 11.
now hands it off to Leo
On
Pepe.
now.
Fa'avesi straightens.
Move. Off the ball.
Chewing through some yardage early here are the Saints. Ma'u to Toifoa. Leo Pepe who winds up. Look out. Leo Pepe driving the legs.
Help.
3 defenders get there just in time for Richmond. Just short of the line now. Left knee heavily strapped for Leo Pepe. Playing onto this left edge and looking to promote it there
No advantage.
was Tuponiwa, but the ball spills loose instead. But a promising first set there for the Saints. Big shout out to the sponsors of this Richmond Bulldogs team, Waterview Laundromat, our good friend Devesh there at Waterview Laundromat, LJ Hooker Ponsonby, Mickey B Fitness, and the Greyland Tavern. The Greyland Tavern, another one who support a number of clubs and our competition. So a big thank you to all of those sponsors.
Beautiful. Keep that up all day, eh? Come in. You go, Ruck.
And a potential sponsor for Tony Latham down here at the Marist Saints. If you need an opportunity to back a big team, get in touch with Tony as soon as you can. Great break.
Now Richmond now break down the left and it's through Siave Tupou. Siave Tupou now, he's got one to beat, coming across and cover. That's good chase though from Marist. They get there and slow things down. Now he wants to quick play the ball. They'll get one. Marist is still getting back. They're in some trouble here, the Saints. If Richmond go out to this right edge, instead they settle. Held in the middle of the park. Great break down the left from Tupou. Now Leon Latoa winds it up. His first carry of the game. He goes 5 after contact. Out to this left edge they come again now. Motion. Taken to ground.
Watch my back.
Look for Kyle Neal to inject himself.
Cool.
Tupou.
We'll take through.
Ball goes loose. Chase is non-existent.
Went over
And
the
that's-
dead ball too, I think.
A fairly weak end to the set there. Well, it's looking fairly promising for the Richmond Bulldogs.
Movement. Mark it. Hold. Hold. Go up.
So Marist now gets back underway.
Two-hand move.
Work it out of their own end.
Hold.
Richmond, they gave away a penalty on their only other defensive set so far in this one. Want to be a little cleaner this time around. Tamasi,
Hold. Go 3.
Mau,
Stand up. Go 4.
Leo Pepe
Easy to offload. He decides to hold.
looking for the offload, ends up
Three humans hanging off him.
tangled in a human maze on the Murray Halberg turf. Vessi now looks to the skies.
On the full. Yeah. Yeah.
Out on the full, poor finish to the set there from Marist.
You got it.
And they let Richmond off the hook that
Well,
time.
good work, Brenda.
Vessi there, well off with the kick.
Wait. Wait.
Playing the ball now, Kyle Neal
Good work, boys.
gets us back underway.
Stand. Mark it. Hold. Go 1. 2, move. 13, wait.
Great energy in the defence line from Marist.
22, Missy. Missy.
Neal plays short to his back rower, Limafa.
Go 3.
Motion. Stands up now, Brandon Motion sticks his nose through, just collared in the end. Just in time.
Great pass.
A shuffle play on now. Limafa hands it off to Dyer. Dyer's got them isolated here, hold the ball, and he's let it go. And the ball has spilled loose, and they have to be careful now, do Richmond, as Marist looked to counter-attack, but Troy probably should have just thrown that pass a little earlier there. Looked like he had them cooked on the edge.
Stand.
Yeah, maybe an opportunity gone astray there. Missy out of the half.
Good meters on offering there for Mau.
Headgear popped off.
Release.
Held up.
Kavaliku goes to the line. Tackled.
Oh, collision. You can hear it from here.
Off the ball.
Peel involved in that one.
Hold.
Now they get to the kick.
Good.
Up high. It is claimed, and now the return now. Good stuff from Richmond here.
He's away.
Matrix Kauiva still dancing his way through and then drops it at the end.
They're going to have to regather the Bulldogs.
Darren now breaking down the other end is Tony Tupaniwa.
Look for a quick play the ball here.
Yeah.
So it's messy stuff at Murray Halberg.
Go 0. All off again.
Dart out of dummy half. Hard carry forward there.
All the way. 11 again. 11.
Briggs. Up inside the 10.
You're not making it.
Richmond
You're
penalised.
making
Good
it.
opportunity here for Marist to
Tap
strike
and
and
go.
open the scoring. Missy Mo,
And they're going
What
to
are we
take a
doing?
kick.
I'll get out of your way, then. Are you happy? Wait.
tap and go it's
There
going
you
to be.
Wait.
Which
Yep,
big
when
guy's
you're
going
ready.
to settle?
Nella
Stand.
Tanito is the first to get us underway. Now they shuffle out now. Briggs was looming in support. Leo Pepe, I think it is. And Toyafa, Leo Pepe opens the scoring. The big fella gets it.
All good.
And over he goes. Let's take a look on the SAS Sporting replay. Starts with a good carry from Tanito.
Kick off, Corey. How's the trainers been so far, boys? I haven't seen.
Nice little short pass from here, did the trick.
Yeah, and there's Missy Mo, and
Boom.
it's just a little deception play, isn't it, Troy? Heads out towards that
Yeah.
left edge.
And it's not
finds-
the first time they've done it either, Corey. They're masters at it.
Big kick. Gone.
Sorry, mate.
And then from there, Leo Pepe, far too big, far too strong.
He just loves that drop on the inside, and he's always there, eh? And as you said, that far out, just too hard to stop that man. But that's a widescreen TV. He fills it.
And you can't tell from the shot, but Leo Pepe has deserted the team huddle. He's happy with his work, and he's going back to
He's
get
going
ready
back
for
to the back
kickoff.
gate. He's going back to the back gate, getting ready for the kickoff.
So Olokita to attempt the conversion from right next to the posts. We don't dare say it's an easy one.
Hey, give him the kiss of death from Corey. He'll land this, no problem.
He does indeed. Olokita flags up, and the Marist Saints lead 6 points to 0 over the Richmond Bulldogs.
Welcome
Richmond a
in.
little guilty of shooting themselves in the foot on that set, a couple of penalties.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. SAS, the official sponsors to the the ARL Fox Memorial. We got tongue-tied on that one. And also to our live stream partner, Ctas, beaming out around the world. Welcome into Rugby League's main game here in Auckland today at the home of the Marist Saints. Richmond getting ready to kick off. Marist Saints to receive.
Oh! Move! 11, 3 as well.
Leo Pepe coming in for some more
Go
work.
roll 13 now!
Open the scoring
Here.
with a
Hold,
short run.
Hold. Go.
Ma'u.
They've got numbers out here too on this edge.
Movement! Back up! Hold! Go 3.
Great
Ma'u
pass.
jumps out, they go short side.
Release!
Well contained though, Lee Muffet.
Go 4.
Get in there. Mafu Briggs.
Oh! Release! Last one. Chase it good.
They get to their kick, the Saints. Well fielded though by Richmond.
Surrender!
Khalifa, who went on that long range break earlier, did some wonderful work, but then forgot to hold on to the ball. It was actually that mistake which led to Marist getting a couple of sets down that end and scoring. Now a penalty, Marist up inside the 10.
On the line, eh? Stay behind the line, guys.
Motion to kick for touch.
Line. Line, boys. Here we go.
Crowd building down here at Murray Halberg Park as well, Troy. Always
Yeah, absolutely.
vocal supporters.
Go.
There's a number of spectators to the left and right of us where the live stream unit is.
Hold. Hold. Go 1.
Richmond be looking to show a little bit of patience here and mount some
Go
pressure.
off the ball! And stand!
Another penalty.
Mate, you can't use the head like that.
So back-to-back piggybacks here for Richmond.
Just make sure you're facial on the head. No
So
contact
here comes the Bulldogs' best
before,
chance.
during, after the tackle.
Start the set 20 off the
Here we
line.
are. Go. Make it,
Siavi Tupou.
To all, eh? Move 22! Hold left side! Oh! Go one.
Leon Latour,
Great run.
2 now, stand!
great servant of this
Make
Richmond
the
club,
line
Leon.
quick. Guide me. One hold.
Sturgis now jumps out of dummy half, finds Kyle Neal, who switches the direction. Motion, backdoor, Machu Stone Dunn was looming up, and now Marist. They get a little chance on the break. Kyle
No,
Neal
he's
does well to
mobbled it.
get across, pull spilt
No,
loose
no.
again. Can
Go on.
someone hold the ball?
1-on-1, but the ball's
It's going to
not
go
gone.
back,
Yes.
and it's anyone's guess whose scrum that will be. I think it'll be a Richmond feed
Go here. Okay.
at the end of it all. Handling not a priority so far, Troy.
Yeah, they've had a couple of opportunities go both ways.
They've gone forward. Back on us, boys. We're in front of you, mate.
And Richmond, you know, in the prime part of the field to be able to mount some pressure. And they've let a couple of opportunities slip by.
Stick and roll with arms over. Lock head in. Let him in, let him in. Wait. Out. All left early. All good, all good.
So it is Marist Saints who have the feed.
Movement, no! Really worked the next scrum, though.
Split them.
2!
Good
Stand!
one there from Tamatsi.
All you have to do is stand and play it. You're going forward. He wasn't on you. Play the ball. Play the ball there.
He says, thank you, sir, I will.
The lesson there from our referee.
3 and release.
Tuponiwa tackled just short of halfway. Mau is the hooker.
Hold, wait. Go. 3.
Goes short, but good up and in defence from Leon Latour. Getting in, shutting them down early.
Sort of handbrake just before the contact. It's gone back.
Walk on.
You're right, a little bit messy from both sides. Oh, I heard a Gordy Gibbons whoa in the background there. He must have felt that one down one side.
Time off here as we got Marist player down on halfway, and it looks like Tony Tuponiwa, who's in a bit of discomfort.
Was he the one who just took the last run up? I think, you know, he sort of handbrake just before the impact, so he got hit pretty hard. And I got to say, the ground, even though it looks like a dusty bowl somewhere in, you know, New South Wales country, there's a bit of greenery on top, but the ground is actually quite hard. There's a bit of sand split through here and it's firm, so when the bodies do hit the deck, you do hear them.
What are we doing, guys?
He's on his feet.
Okay.
Marist to play the ball.
Pick the ball up. Last tackle. Time on.
So back underway we go. Spin the ball out the back now. Kavaliku looks
Great
skyward.
catch under pressure.
Nicely fielded at the back by
Play on.
Kauhiva. Still fighting in the tackle, eventually taken down by Whakafanua.
Movement! All on.
Stone done. Tupo down the short side.
Move! All the way.
Sloppy play the ball and an error. And boy, the completion rate's an ugly sight so far in this one. Both teams battling to complete anything.
Here we go. Richmond, use the line. Front row together. Second rows, arms over. Locked, heads in. Wait for the out, boys. Bend your back, number 10. No. Not good enough. Can't bind on top. You've got to get your head in. Bend your back. Head. Ball there. Out!
So Marist now back on the ball. At the back they go, bring in Palamo into the play.
Go one. All on. Movement!
Vessi darts out and makes a few cheap meters.
3 all the way left side.
Leo Pepe winds him up, taken well though, down low. Leon Latour, I think, joining in. Close down the big fella there. Now they come down the right edge. Back in field. Sturgis came racing out of the line.
Movement. Final.
Short ball to Briggs. It's a mile forward. And that is once again a poor finish to the set from the Marist Saints. who are really getting downfield pretty easy, Troy, but their execution, once they're in good ball situations, leaves a little to be desired so far.
Yeah, I don't think either side settled down just yet, Corey. They're, you know, it's been a bit messy on both sides of the ledger,
Back it up.
and
Thank
you know, they just need to complete their sets of 6, and again, you know, mount pressure. So let's see what the Bulldogs can do now. So they try to run it out
Play it. One,
just inside the 30.
2, markers up now. Hold. Forward. Forward pass.
And
Called
full
the
pass.
forward. I mean, you know, just makes it so much harder.
So some schoolboy errors here to start this one, and let's hope that as the teams find their way into the game, it cleans up a little, but a very stop-start beginning to this game. Really the opposite to what we saw in the curtain raiser, Troy, where we saw open rugby league right from the start, fairly error-free as well.
Yeah, and to be fair, I think
Hey, where's the halfback?
both those coaches sort of indicated that's what they were going to do at the start of it. You know, they were looking at the conditions and the rosters that they both had, and they were straight into it.
Out. Move. Up. Go 1.
Wallace Teorema getting it back underway here. Good defence again by Latoa,
Move and
who's
move,
up in the
10.
face.
All the way 8. 3 and 11.
Leo Pepe juggles, dummies, and instead goes to the line, chopped down low.
Dude, you can't call every play someone offside, mate. Come on.
Penalty at the end of that one as well.
No, just a slack.
Penalty count now starting to rack up as well.
Get up and get out. What do I... Miss. Okay, wait now. On the line. When you're ready. Go.
Mau gets us back underway. Tuponiwa down injured a few minutes ago,
Here
seems
we
to be
are.
up and
Richmond,
okay
have a
now.
look. Hold, go 1.
Nice little run.
Hard run right at the line here now. Marist looking to add to their advantage, which is gained earlier via Leo Pepe now, who dummies and
Just
fakes
touched.
out the back door, instead stands up and just keeps driving. Right up against the line now. Mau shuffles play short. Good defence, Richmond. Up in the face. Sturgis leading.
Arms out. Not square 9.
Tuponiwa now gets
Final.
crushed.
On the line.
Kamanapo,
Look for the little drop back on the inside again. No, he's let it go.
All good.
terrible service from dummy half. Picked up by Fa'avesi, who gets to the kick. Scooped up there, but it's too easy for Richmond. Once again, the finish to the set really poor from Marist,
Have a look.
whose halves are struggling to make their mark on this game.
2. Up. All the way. Here. Oh, missed early. Again.
Excuse me.
Contact up high there, and it certainly was. Taken to the ground, Ulokita, I think it is, who's been pinged.
With the net.
Malaysia, man infringed on. Kyle Neal now to kick for touch.
On the line.
That ball's gone into the neighbours.
Here, boy.
Steedon Football's the official balls for the Auckland Rugby League. Just tried to call the knock on there from the throw in from the sideline. I love it.
Honestly, so far it wouldn't surprise me. David Dyer taps and goes. Sturgis now brings big Kamanapo into the action. Mount Wellington Warriors Junior, just 18 years of age.
Hold. Hold.
Super impressive in the rep weekend last weekend. Sturgis jumps out of dummy half.
Stand.
Nothing forthcoming that time.
Wait. Wait. Go 3. Back to it again.
Neil
Ball release the
hands
leg.
it off. He's done very well to hold on to it there. In the end, has Limuffa. Motion. Shuffles it on now. To the other back rower.
Final stand up.
Tong
11.
Yao.
Are they all on? Yep.
Motion. Gets to the kick. Looks high.
Okay. Field.
Under it at the back. Marist. What's happened there?
Hayden.
Very nearly a knock on in goal. I think at the end of it all,
Nate down, Nate.
Wallace Teorema,
Let him go.
Reese Tomatsi, sorry, has fielded it, and there's good
Move.
yardage on offer there for Marist, and even better now, a penalty blown.
Go.
Well, he's going to tap and go. He has.
Tap and go is the call. Richmond have got a staggered line. They do well to recover.
Movement now.
Trying to get a roll on over Saints.
1.
Oh, met
2,
heavily.
roll away now.
Tuponiwa jumping on a dummy half that time.
Hold.
Marist keen to play up pace football.
Now.
Ma'u plays short now. The Tui Masefi. Christian Tui Masefi still going. Excellent carry for the big fella there. His first touch off the bench.
Hand off the ball. 1, go 3.
Ma'u, the short side now. Tuponiwa going to go very close, right up against the line.
Right up against it. I think he's on it.
Over the line, you're right, Troy. Hard to tell here from our screen. The field marking's not exactly jumping out today, but that is a try, and it is Sione Tuponiwa. Let's take a look on the SAS Sports replay.
Everyone was in a hurry to get up. That was the
I
try
think
that
we've
we're
caught
replaying.
the end of it.
Beautiful
So,
work. And that's how fast they get up after a try is scored.
Not the most thrilling of viewing that one, but it starts with this carry from Tui Masefi. His first touch in the game, it was a brilliant carry. He went 10 or 15 metres, and then from there, Tuponiwa powerful enough
Hit and
to
spin.
get to the line, and over he goes.
Great to see. So Marist are going to take a lot of positivity from this as they go up to 10 points to 0. And I dare say the chat down there at the Richmond boardroom office will be again coming back to completing their sets of 6. And I think at the preamble, at the build-up, one of the things that Steve Buckingham said to you was, you know, they were looking to complete their sets, have strong carries, and defend well. So I mean, you know, in probably 2 sentences, they've got half of it. They're just wanting to get the other half sorted.
So Christian Olakita to attempt the conversion, a little more difficult than his first one, which was right next to the uprights.
Big shout out to Te Araha, the wonderful bar down there. We managed to have a couple of green teas at on Wednesday and watch the State of Origin. I understand the manager down there is just about now offering a free round of jokes to everyone.
A live stream special. Olakita steps in and pushes it just across the face and to the right. So the score remains Marist Saints 10, Richmond Bulldogs 0. 24 minutes gone here at Murray Halberg Park.
Fabulous down here at the park today too. Sun's out, ground's hard. Great day for Auckland Rugby League. A lot of guests here today too, Corey. The Deputy Chairman from the ARL board, Shane Price, is on site. And the young fella, Gordy Gibbons, is sideline. And I think they're all enjoying themselves down here in the sunshine, watching the Richmond Bulldogs up against the Marist Saints. Main game for today, courtesy of Auckland Rugby League, brought to you by Ctas, our live stream partners.
Tui Masefi now winds it up. Collected a little high at first there, playing us the call. Making good yardage
strong
here in
run.
Marist. This is good up-tempo football from the Saints. Now they come down the right edge. Mafu Briggs. He won't take a backward step.
3, release 9.
Gets them up to halfway. Look at them chewing through yardage here. And that's another excellent carry, this time from Cyrus Payne. Brilliant out of dummy half.
All on now.
Tamatsi now steps back inside. Reese Tamatsi.
Oh, great
pops
offload.
the ball out the back. Palamo! Beautiful rugby league.
Check the replay. I want to see if the ball's grounded. It's okay for us.
Yeah. If you're going to give me it,
It was so fast from Marist though, and look at this, even here, it almost looks like the footage has been sped up a little, and Palamo on the end of it, scoops it up. It was a brilliant offload from
All good.
Reese Tamatsi. And Sarnelli Palamo, the man on the spot to finish it. The 25-year-old has come across from Roskill District Rugby. Apprentice builder during the week. Try scoring fullback by
There
weekend.
you go, eh? Yeah, keep it up, Saints, is the call from the far side. A lot of old boys down here today at the Marist Saints. And I dare say they'll be celebrating with a couple of green teas themselves tonight. Now at halftime, Corey, just so you're aware, we're going to get through some of our highlights. Not all of it, because we have a little treat today. We've got the under sixes playing here at halftime.
Oh, how good.
And we'll be able to see some up and coming Saints players as he strikes the ball and the flags are up.
Always good to see the mini mods in action. We had them at halftime in the Auckland representative game last week, and I tell you, the applause from the crowd, it was awesome. They got right behind it. That was the pilot series which the Auckland Rugby League is running this year in South Auckland clubs. Great to see the kids out having a good time, and a big shout out to all the volunteers involved as well. Lots of parents on the field helping out, our referees and coaches. It's much appreciated.
Oh, ball boy trying to tackle the elusive ball. He's got it now. Not a bad pass there from the young fella.
All right, boys. Same again. Timeout run. No early.
Imagine how freaked out he'd be now if somebody handed him a mouth guard and said, "You're on."
So back underway we go. Oh, deep kick. Has he stepped dead there? It was very, very
all
close. Play on is the call.
Stand now. Marking square. Oh.
And maybe we can ask the spectator who has planted his chair right on the dead ball line down there. He's a brave man.
Up. Hold. Hold. Lock.
And now an error coming out of yardage. So not what they needed at the end of a try-scoring set. And so now they're going to have to do a bit of defensive work now. Richmond
We haven't been in scrum for a while.
get their first lot of meaningful possession in a fair while. Kyle Neal to pack the scrum. Just short of the half-hour mark here at Murray Halberg Park. Round 9 of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership. Out they come now, Machu Stone done. They're into a little bit of space here, Richmond. Wanted to get the ball out to Dyer. Probably would have been try time. Said they centralise now through Nathaniel Law. Sturgis rushes the dummy half. Finds Neil, who straightens.
Release. Go 3. Good work.
One out stuff here, Prius. This time, spent last year with the Tele2 Roosters, back at Richmond.
Go 4.
They swing it right out the back now. Neil steps back inside. He's testing the line as Carl Neil. A little flick pass to Kamana Paul.
Last one. Get up.
Last tackle coming up.
Clear him.
Sturgis burrows over. Held up is the call. That's last tackle. It's going to be a handover.
Wait. Yeah, tight. 0.
So Marist now getting back into their work.
Stand.
And after a bit of a sluggish start, they've really found their way into this game in the last little bit. Tamatsi having a good game.
Markers now. Play where you are. Go 2. 1 marker. 3. 11 up. 4. Move. Go 4.
See the trainer out there not giving anybody any water, but telling them which way to run.
Final.
Pressure on the field. CLE to fail.
Good work, 9. 15.
They get to the kick via Kavaleku under heavy pressure. High one down to the corner.
take.
Taken by Marist, and now play on is the call. They break down the right.
Offload.
Ball still alive. Richmond getting across in numbers. Ball pops out and it's scooped up by Richmond.
Take a 1.
Nice tidy up.
Hold. Go 1. Movement. Go 2.
Toima Sevi, good.
3 and up.
Rushing defence there.
Go.
Puts the winger to ground. He's been good since coming on, has Christian. Now a little break on here for Richmond if they can get the ball wide. Spills loose.
So it's gone back.
Cleaned up by Lemafa. 0 tackle is the call, so 6 again for Richmond. They need to be patient here, the Bulldogs.
Oh!
Big contact. Briggs leading the charge. Law takes the hit. Dyer now. Dyer straightens. That's a good carry from the centre.
Go.
Ball loose again. Strip is the call.
2 in it. Ball strip.
Will be a Richmond penalty.
Yep. Coming. Line. Yep. Next one, boys. Next one. Pause one over the back. Now this is what kills time. Another one coming. No one over.
Robert
Take it there.
Malicia
Take it there, Kyle.
will be the man to restart play. In fact, it's going to be David Dyer. Prius
Move.
takes him to within
Out
10.
here.
Fresh
Back
legs on the
here.
park in the shape of Isaac Arcoy Atmore. Law, who was on the receiving end of a Matafu Briggs shot earlier, hasn't scared him off any. Briggs now gives away a penalty. That's second penalty Briggs has given away in the last few minutes. Arcoy Atmore taps and goes. Hands it off to the big fella, Sione Nahi, the St. Paul's College boy.
Play the ball.
Just short of the line here at Richmond. Can they earn their first points here? Law, short at the line. Good cover defence though. Cyrus Payne involved.
Hold. Go 2.
Kyle Neal has Stone Dunn hanging on his shoulder. Stone Dunn hands it off to Dyer, David Dyer. And he gets over for Richmond's first try. Lovely work from Machu Stone Dunn. Let's take a look at the SAS Sporting replay. And it was all very one out from Richmond to start with on this one. But here, it's nice shape out the back. Finds Neal to Stone Dunn, and then at this point, they know they've got them. All he has to do is get the ball to Dyer, who does really nicely, holds it up. He's a big body. It's always going to be hard to stop from there. So David Dyer crashes over. You mentioned earlier a little bit about David Dyer's story. Spent last year over in Europe. Played some footy with the West Warriors, the team made up of Aussies and Kiwis over in London on their OEs. Big shout out to the crew at West Warriors if they are tuning in. What will be very early morning wake up, or perhaps a very late night.
Yeah, they probably haven't gone to
depending on
bed.
what was going on. But an awesome little club there, and I know for a number of Kiwi boys, a little reminder of home while they are away on the other side of the world.
Interesting to see just a little bit of the rhythm change when Isaac Arcoy Atmore came on. You know, just speeding it up around the service area there, and created enough opportunity for that ball to spin out onto the right edge. He still had a wee bit of work to do with the big centre going in, and I think it was nice having that outside player, the winger, standing there, just put the defending winger in two minds, and he had to come in and kick waved away.
To the right, so the score remains Marist Saints 16, Richmond Bulldogs 4. 35 minutes gone here at Murray Halberg Park, round 9 of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership, just about at the halfway point of the season.
And the Marist Saints are not marching in, they're just taking their time, walking back to the halfway. And here comes Big Lau Pepe.
So that was a short break for Big Toliafoa. Toima Sevi having a short stint on the field. He goes off for a rest now, so keen to get the big fella back out there, and fair enough, because he was rather effective in the opening exchanges.
I love the big guy. I love his name. He's awesome. Here we go.
Olokita to get us back underway. Marist taking an age to restart play there.
Now Richmond will want to be building off the last lot of tries that they've just scored, the last few points that they've just scored, I should say. looking to charge outside their half.
Down
They've
the
split
left
them
here
and gone.
now, and he's got Palamo coming across and cover defence. Back on the inside, Siave, Tupou. Richmond are in again.
I'm happy. I'm happy.
Well, we've got to have a look at the SAS replay on that, because some of the Marist boys are having a conversation with themselves now, walking back to the try line. They only left moments ago.
Yeah, they break down the left here now, and initially it's Matrix Kahiva, who's into open space. Look at him, looking around for his mate, finds Tupou on the inside, and then from there, Palamo's throwing his body weight across to that side. They're never catching him. Gets the big pistons pumping.
The head's pumping too, he knows. Big white mouth guards grinning all the way through to the uprights.
Tupou dots down right under the posts. And Richmond, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, are back in this game. So the kick, which would reduce the gap to 6 points.
Yeah, not ideal for the coaching staff for the Marist Saints. Richmond, however, will take a lot of energy from that, I'd say. All of a sudden, their body language has certainly changed.
So Kakoi, Tongiu to attempt the conversion. From in front, flags are up, and it is a 6-point ball game. Richmond Bulldogs, well, it took them 35 minutes to score,
Twice.
and then, that's right, a minute and a half to score their second. So awesome stuff from the Bulldogs. They have wrestled their way back into this one as we approach half-time.
So all of the Marist team have arrived back to the halfway now with a wee bit more urgency, I'd say.
And we've got no ball.
Oh, here it comes. It went into the schoolyard. Sorry, into the house yard.
So Marist probably need to show a little more energy for the remainder of this half. Really caught flat on that last try.
They won't
And
want to leak
Richmond,
another.
they have a spring in their step, to say the least. Big carry forward, straight back into it.
Oh, go one. All good, eh? Hold what this one.
Marist line
Oh.
getting up. That's good line speed. In fact,
They
the
don't
line
want-
speed's too good. They're inside the 10.
They don't want to get carried away here.
You know what it is,
So
eh?
Richmond are going to drive now to the touchline. They're going to chew up some metres. And
Motion
all of a sudden,
puts that one into touch. It's building, Troy.
a little momentum swing. Bulldogs out for a walk now.
Tongiu,
The shoulders, boys.
first to take forward.
Marcus!
They
All the
should
way
get
left
a full
side.
set of 6 in here, Richmond. Motion. Nahi. Powerhouse, a product of the SAS College Rugby League competition. You can catch the live streams for that Wednesdays from 4 p.m. for the rest of the season. Nathaniel Law wearing a big shot in over the top there.
And a cover tackle from the biggest man on the field.
Arkoy Atmore, motion, looping pass out to Siave Tupou, who has caused big trouble for Marist today. Is he about to cause them a whole lot more? Bumping his way towards the try line. Neil now promotes second phase. They got numbers on the right edge here now, Richmond. Limafa steps back inside, still going. They're struggling to contain them. Riggs gets across. He's just short of the line. In fact, he's not short of the line. He's scored. What a brilliant try. And it is Michael Limafa who just refuses to die on the ball. The video will make for thrilling viewing. Kyle Neal starts it with popping that ball over the top, and then from here, look at Limafa. Goes that way, steps back inside, avoids 3 tacklers altogether, and then he
Stepped
breaks
off him
one.
too.
Then he breaks 2. Looks up, he sees Briggs coming across, and then from here it's just guts. Drags his body to the line, and somehow,
Ref's
under
right
all
there
those
too,
bodies,
mate.
yeah, it's great positioning from referee Hayden Price, gets the ball down, but Troy, that is pure determination.
Great try.
So,
So the last 5 minutes, are we at the same game?
incredible. So Richmond, having not looked like scoring at all for the first half hour, have turned it on And should this kick be successful, we're going to have a tied ball game at half-time.
So that must have been part of Steve Bucky's chat, was that we're only going to play for 5 minutes in this half and save all of our energy for the second.
Kakoi Tongiu to attempt the conversion. Left footer.
It's on the right side. He should be able to just stroke that over, no problem whatsoever.
He's done it. And we have a tied ball game, 16 points all. There it is. That's half-time. Do stay with us. We're going to bring you a couple of little updates as well as the much-awaited clash between the mini-mods here at Murray Halberg Park.
Well, the ball boy's in the way. You like that? What a comeback!
Live league action. In 2018, the Auckland Rugby League is putting the game in your hands. Never miss a hit from New Zealand's premier rugby league competition. To get the inside edge on where you can watch the action live and free, hit up aucklandleague.co.nz. Live league action. aucklandleague.co.nz.
Back door now. Toa Samoa keen to go to the edges. Troy, they've been pretty insistent on using their big fellas so far. We haven't seen too much in the way of sideways movement. And here's a big carry forward by Lenny Nemia. And I think he's got the opener. Legs driving from
Yeah, he did well too,
Kamanapo.
fresh legs.
Might be space on the left edge here if that's where they go. Butler to Pucky. Pucky thinks there is as well. Steps back inside instead. Tane Pucky. Tane Pucky's under the post. Individual brilliance from Tane Pucky. Memorial Centre. Swinging up the back now. Rangi is going to look to the skies. Tester at the back. Brown left to bounce. Now the chase is on. Now there's bodies coming from everywhere. It's been scooped up by the Auckland Māori. And it is Eloa Ma'afu Roberts who... Smith goes to the line now. Casey Smith broken through. Casey Smith now is into open space. He's got Tomovavi Gerard to beat. Looming on his outside is the big second rower. And they're going to go in here. The Auckland Māori under 20. What a try. It is back. Tavita goes to the line. Dylan Tavita. He's not going to need anyone. Dylan Tavita's going to step his way through. Butler. Smith. Casey Smith goes to the line. Casey Smith through. Casey Smith. Will coach Mapoi. Change tack now as Nemia drive towards the line. Auckland Māori have been fantastic on their line for the majority of this game. Falilua Malio jumps out of dummy half. Not that time. Johnny Falilua Malio just catches a nap. Gets the offload away as well now. Malutoa! He's got there.
Boom, on. Right here, here he goes. And boom.
Smith steps in. Good off the boot. We are tied up, ladies and gentlemen. 24 all. Side. Paki goes to the line. Out the back to Rangi. They're going to spread it. They want the win here. Do the Auckland Māori. 10 seconds to go. 50 metres to travel. Is there a drop goal in the offering? Paki goes out the back door. They need to take the tackle quickly. The clock's expired. That might do it. And it's going to finish the end.
So here's the other mighty clash that's on today. The Richmond under sixes up against Marist Saints, and very fortunate to have Gordy Gibbons alongside. How's today's football?
Well, the first game, absolutely outstanding. Love the, excuse me.
Sorry about that, slight technical fault there. There was a bit of flame, but that's now out. Okay, I'll put you out.
We had a bit of a smoke there. The first game, the Northcote against Otahu, outstanding game of rugby league, and I absolutely love the way that Northcote are moving the ball, and to get the win for them was pretty special, especially against an Otahu side that have been threatening all year. But yeah, and look, I have to say this, but I can see now why Marist haven't won a game so far in 2018. Their concentration lapses, their wrong decision, their poor decision making has certainly cost them. To be 16-0 up and then go to the break 16-all, not good football with any stretch of the imagination. So hopefully they can all come back after the break and start playing some decent footy like they did in the first 15 or 20 of the first half.
Who stood out for you in the Northcote? I know you got a wee bit of history of the Northcote clubhouse. Who stood out for you in that match?
Well, I have to say this. I think it was number 17 who came on in the half role, and I'm not sure of his name, but also the number 6 for Northcote, and I could have swore that it was the son of Michael Dizzy Phillips. He played exactly how he played when he was running around all those years ago, and I could have swore it was his son. But yeah, I think the way that they controlled the ball around the ruck area and moved, as I say before, the moving of the ball was absolutely outstanding. So all credit to Jeff and his coaching staff. They've done a wonderful job. But I'll tell you what, when you've got two special coaches like Jeff and, of course, John Acton from Otahu, you can see that these players are certainly playing some great footy. But also I have to say, too, that the last 20, I think Northcote won it with their fitness. They looked the superior team with the fitness-wise.
And finally, Gordy, one of the initiatives this year with the Auckland Rugby League board was to, there's a runaway here, mate.
Oh, yeah, great runaway too. Look, he's going to go all the way. What a beautiful tackle. Get the pen and paper out. We'll sign him up for the Vodafone Warriors.
That replay will be available on the Auckland Rugby League YouTube channel, and you'll be able to see that one. I was about to say the initiative from the Auckland Rugby League board and getting in behind the live streaming, mate. How do you think that's working out?
Absolutely wonderful, and all credit to yourself, of course, and Corey Rosser, who's becoming the Ray Warren of Auckland Rugby League, and it's getting a heck of a lot of followers, I must say. And myself, I watch it all the time. Even when I'm at the game, I like to keep up with the play. So congratulations to yourself and Corey, and of course the Auckland Rugby League board for the initiative and the initial outlay of the finances to make sure that it was done properly, because if you're going to do it, you're going to do something right. So we're going to talk about the Warriors game today, Troy?
Okay, let's go to the Warriors, because we always go to the Warriors. Now, there have been times when we've sat together, Gordy, where, no, we don't talk about the Warriors today. But today we're going to talk about them. So what's going to happen today?
Well, look, this Warriors team, and we all agree that the consistency has been absolutely terrible. And when we lose badly. But this game against Manly tonight, look, it's not desperation stuff down in Christchurch, but it's going to have to be a win for the Warriors. Otherwise, people are going to start scratching their head big time. Okay, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck out because of the injury, the ankle injury he sustained against the Rabbitohs. We've got Pitahiku coming into fullback, and of course Jared Beale into the centres. Are we going to lose something with Roger out? Absolutely, we'll lose something with Roger out, because he's a great meter eater. I think he's probably the top in the NRL currently. So of course we're going to lose something there. But with Jared Beale, he's getting back to his true form that earned him the Kiwis jersey in the 2017 World Cup. And with Pitahiku back at fullback, I think he'll play better fullback than he did standoff when he played that role against the Rabbitohs.
Who's the other standout for you inside the Warriors, mate, that you think's been, really standing up this year?
Without a doubt, David Fusiatua, and I heard Corey mention him before when you opened the broadcast, that he is a local boy, and his maturity has come along in leaps and bounds. There you go. Excuse the pun. Leaps and bounds.
You're a professional. You've done this before.
Leaps and bounds. But all the young fellas, like even Sol Cutter, and the way that he stepped up too, and you'd have to give a rap to Ken Maumalo, who, look, last year was an average if best player, but he's certainly come alive this year. Second part of the season last year, he was showing potential, but in 2018, he's absolutely showing why he's made that wing spot his own, because there are people nipping at his heels. And you look at all the other young fellas in there, and let's not forget the old fellas in there too, with Adam Blair, who everybody was scratching their head and rolling their eyes when he was signed on a 3-year deal. I think he's showing now why Stephen Kearney wanted him in the fold. His leadership is unquestionable. And then, of course, you chuck into the mix Tohu Harris.
Yeah.
Every time he runs that right edge, he's causing the defensive line to second guess him because he's either going to run straight at you and draw the offload. But I tell you what, he's playing some great footy.
Well, mate, we've just heard the two chirps as the referees are getting back on for this match. And as you've said, you know, it was all Marist right up until the last 5 minutes of the first half, and then Richmond decided to kick into gear and, you know, put some tries on the board. What's the pick for the next 40?
Okay, well, as I said, if Marist do not come out and start getting some consistency and making the right decisions on the field, they are going to suffer at the hands of this Richmond side, because Steve Buckingham is a very, very good coach too. And I think coach for Marist, Jason Williams,
Yep.
I mean, he's not too bad himself, but Steve Buckingham will make sure that his troops come out and keep hammering away to keep the flow going their way. Look, I'll tell you what, I'm going to stick it all on the line here. I'm going to give this one to Marist. I'm going to go by 2 points, and it's going to come right down to the wire. There you go.
Awesome, mate. As always, a pleasure catching up with Gordy Gibbons down here sideline for the main match of today, as Marist are getting ready now to kick off, and Richmond